Hi everyone, Ashley here and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. Today I am so excited to share this fun reveal wheel card that is very fall themed, and it uses a lot of new items that came in Lawn Fawn's latest release, and that was their Fall and Winter 2020 release. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm starting by stamping out all of the adorable images that I plan to use in this card. These images are entirely from one of Lawn Fawn's newest released stamps. Again, this is part of their 2020 fall release, and this stamp set is called Let's Go Nuts, and it features a whole bunch of different cute little squirrels with acorns and leaves and a lot of different images to make a really adorable fall scene. So I stamped out the squirrels that I wanted to use, as well as a whole bunch of leaves and acorns, and I stamped these in My Favorite Things Extreme Black ink because that is my current favorite black ink for Copic coloring. So now I'm going ahead and coloring in these images with my Copic markers. For the squirrels, I'm using 3 different shades of brown. The darkest is E15, the middle is E13, and the lightest is E00. And I'm just starting out with the darkest shade and coloring in places that I think would be the most shadowed. And then I'm blending out that dark with the medium, and then blending out that medium with the light. And then once I've done all that, I do go back with one more layer of the dark to really just add one extra layer of depth and dimension to these little images. And I usually use actually only 2 shades when I color small images like this, like I'll use a light and a dark, no medium. But for these guys, I just thought that I really wanted them to have lots of dimension and be really, really vibrant. So that's why I chose 3. Now I colored all squirrels in the same way, and now I'm skipping ahead to show you how I colored the acorns. For these, I used 2 different shades of brown, one darker and one lighter, and I believe the darker is E35 and the lighter is E31. Once I was done with that, I added a little shade of dark just as a little shadow beneath the tip of those acorns using a different shade of brown. I believe this is E71. Next, it's time to get some of those fall vibes in with the reds, oranges, and yellows for the wagon and for the leaves and the little scarves as well. So for the red, I just chose a dark rusty red as the dark shade and blended it out with a lighter, more vibrant red in the middle of that card there. And then I just colored in the tires with some grays. For the leaves, I'm coloring them in with a combination of some reds, some oranges, and some yellows to make it super autumnal. And for each leaf, I just used one dark shade to sort of brush up from the bottom of the leaf and then blended it out at the top of the leaf with a light shade. And then sometimes I came back in with a dark shade to really just add, again, some extra dimension. This is a trick that I like to do on lots of different images. I find it almost adds like a faux third layer when you come back in with that dark shade, and it really adds a nice touch. So that is all of the images colored, and off camera I did go ahead and fussy cut them all with my scissors. For the sentiment, I'm just using this banner image. It's from another Lawn Fawn stamp set, and I stamped it out in the same black ink. That banner stamp set also comes with the interior stamps that you can use in colors. So I took some Lawn Fawn Butter ink, which is just a beautiful light yellow, and I stamped the interior of the banner in that yellow to give it a yellow color. By the way, all of the stamp sets that I use and other materials that I use on this card are going to be listed down in the description below if you're interested. I then stamped the sentiment from that Let's Go Nuts stamp set right onto that banner, sort of adjusting it to make it fit the shape of the banner, and it says, "When life gets nutty." And then there's a separate little stamp with the 3 little dots, which I also separately stamped onto the end of that sentiment as well. So it says, "When life gets nutty, ... and then on the inside I'm going to stamp, "I'm grateful for you." So now it's time to bring the rest of the card together. So I just cut out a plain white card base, and I'm adhering a piece of the orange patterned paper onto it, and this is from the new Lawn Fawn Into the Woods remix pattern paper, and I just loved the bright pop of orange color. I cut the rest of the pieces out using the reveal wheel dies from Lawn Fawn, and again using those papers as well, and I love that birch tree paper for the sky, and then I chose a brown pattern paper for the ground, which kind of looks like it has leaves falling on it, which is really cool. To assemble the reveal wheel, I just adhered that scalloped circle together with a small circle using a brad, and then I adhered some foam onto the back of the small circle, and I'm positioning it down into the card base in the spot that it needs to be to sort of turn around and appear in that opening just as it should. I'm adding some foam around that reveal wheel mechanism so that the card front is elevated enough from that mechanism to make it work, and I just adhered all of that together with some double-sided tape. So once I've exposed that tape, I can just tape that panel right onto the foam, and you can see that the reveal wheel works perfectly now. So I knew that I wanted the reveal wheel mechanism to be filled with acorns so that it almost looks like the squirrel is juggling the acorns when you turn the reveal wheel. So in order to do that, I'm just taking my cut out acorns that I had colored and cut out, and I'm gluing them one by one onto that reveal wheel mechanism. And I started by gluing down 4 into the opening, and then for each additional one, I just turn the reveal wheel a little bit more, sort of one acorn over, and I glue on the next acorn. And I'm just doing that one by one until the entire reveal wheel mechanism is filled with the acorns. And that way, when you turn the mechanism, it looks like the acorns are being juggled, which is really fun. And by the way, I didn't mention, I did stamp a little sentiment that says "Turn me" in black ink right where that reveal wheel is exposed, so that the recipient knows to turn the reveal wheel. Okay, so now that the main mechanism is assembled, it's time to just fill the rest of the card with those adorable images. So I'm just sort of gluing them together here using some multimedia matte, which is just a really nice matte liquid glue. And I'm sort of putting all of the images together as they should be. So I glued the scarves onto the squirrels, and I glued the nuts into the wagon, and the squirrel onto the nuts, and everything is ready to go. So what I like to do is I like to add foam to all of the pieces that I want to be elevated with foam, and not remove the release paper quite yet. So I leave the release paper on the foam and just add it all into the backs of the images, and then assemble them onto the card exactly where I want them. And that way, when I'm ready to go and when I have all the images exactly where I want them to be, I can just go through one by one, remove that release paper, and adhere those images down exactly where they need to be. So that's what I'm doing now, and once I've adhered that last squirrel, I can just go ahead and fill in a little bit of liquid glue onto that wagon handle and put it onto that squirrel's hand so it looks like he's holding the wagon. So now all of the main images are there, and it's time to just fill in the rest of the card with these little accessory images, lots of the leaves and acorns and things that I wanted to be sort of floating around the sky. It looked like it's just fall everywhere with the leaves falling. So I just sort of scattered the leaves around the card as well as the acorns around that banner. And I just used my craft tweezers to stick them down exactly where I wanted them. And that is it. That is the card done. So I love how colorful this card is, and I love how the pattern paper really brings out all of those fun fall colors. And I love that when you turn the reveal wheel, it looks like that squirrel is juggling the acorns. I actually do have quite a few reveal wheel cards here up on my channel. It's one of my favorite interactive cards to make. So if you are interested in seeing more and seeing other cards that use this mechanism, definitely check out some of my other videos and you'll find them for sure. So thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making this card, and I can't wait to see you again for the next one. See you again soon. Bye!